and Tanzania. But first, we're going to look at what's making headlines on the dailies, and allow me to introduce the guest I'm going to be doing that with, and that is none other than Dr. Duncan Ojwang, who is a lecturer at Nazarene University, and he lectures on law. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Ojwang, this morning, bright and early. We'll also continue with him when we get to talk about the relations between Kenya and Tanzania. But let's start off with what's making headlines on the dailies. And we start with the Standard. And many of us will agree that Jubilee has been on the headline now for quite some time, and it continues to get the headlines. And this is how Ruto lost Jubilee to Uhuru. How Ruto lost Jubilee to Uhuru. And this, of course, has been the strained relationship between the president and the deputy president, which started a while ago, but has been playing out and has become a little bit more brutal, so to speak, as we see how Jubilee is carrying their activities. One of them being the change in leadership at the Jubilee top level, which was contested by the deputy president. We also saw that move to the Senate, with the president calling senators to a meeting and literally changing the leadership at Senate. And that, of course, was to remove those who are allied to the deputy president. So what does that all mean? Let me bring in now Dr. Ojwang, and maybe let's start by, first of all, looking at it from the perspective. Did you ever see Jubilee getting to a point where they are today? It literally is bare knuckle fight, as it were. Daktari.
No, this could not be envisioned, especially like you put it, the bare knuckle tact. It's a surprise. Maybe the issue is whether it was bound to happen. And but if you talk to Jubilee people, they're saying Jubilee in essence or in facts have not existed after the second election, the 2017. They have never called a party meeting. The party as it is have really not existed. So there's nothing much to take over, according to some members of the Jubilee, yes.
Okay, and looking at where things are now, as much as there may be nothing to take over in terms of Jubilee as a party, we have seen them now begin to realign. Excuse me. Recently, we saw KANU, put out an intention to have a coalition with Jubilee Party. We have also had Orange Democratic Movement mention that they also are looking at a partnership coming towards 2022. This, of course, would be seen to edge out the deputy president. Is this something that you possibly would have foreseen and expected?
The coalitions?
The coalitions, and also the edging out of the deputy president from Jubilee.
Yeah, it's imminent that is being edged out. But one of the challenges that Kenyans are used to signing things. Right now, there is that coalition. It is loose. It has not defined things. It is vague. We don't know the content. You just know there are different coalitions that have joined together. The intentions are not very clear. And probably, in my prediction, after they are done with the deputy president, if they are done, the next battle will be the supremacy amongst them, because it's a very loose coalition and it's conveniently for the sake of dealing with the deputy president for now, yes.
Okay, and of course we had Murathe quite a while ago, I think as soon as we got into the second term of President Uhuru Kenyatta, mentioned that we are likely to see a very brutal, not brutal, but a very strict, so to speak, president, one who is not going to be mincing his words. Do you think that is coming to pass right now?
Yes, probably it will be worse or it will escalate. But I still think that brutal, yes, but also, in my view, we are seeing a lame duck president, because he's not able to call the party, stare to them members on the face, kick out rebels, not through boardroom tactics, but directly through the governing bodies. Remember, we have cases in court and the issue of coalition between them and KANU is contested because it did not get authorized through the proper party structures. The political party tribunal appeal is on, and you can see that there is the issue that you kind of engineered a coup and you didn't pass this through the proper organ. So it's just a matter of whether those coalitions are even legal. But politically, of course, they have given him a lot of power and visibility, especially, you know, at this time with the COVID-19. It's almost a covert mission because the other side cannot caucus, cannot have countermeasures, but the government side could easily sneak the boardroom appointment. And the parliament, have you seen, they were the first casualty, accused that some of them had corona. They are scattered and far and in between, and therefore institutions are weaker this time, and therefore it's a field day for Mr. Tuju and for the president, yes.
All right, and looking at the Daily Nation headline, it says Uhuru endgame is to impeach Ruto allies fear. Again, how possible is this? Maybe if we look at it from a legal lens, how possible is that for that to be an endgame? You know, Uhuru's side of the faction, you know, impeaching the deputy president.
Yeah, if you look at the Constitution, the impeachment of deputy president is similar to that of the president, 2/3, unless you prescribe that is incapacitated, and therefore you need to petition, a petition brought by a third, sent to the Chief Justice who appoints a tribunal. But if it is in terms of gross misconduct, then you need 2/3, both of Senate and 2/3 of the National Assembly. It's up to the political scientists to tell us if this coalition will garner the 2/3 in order to successfully impeach deputy president. 2/3 will be about what? That's a little more, a little above 200.
Right, which would be a tall order. I mean, even looking at the timing, we have a very short time between now and 2022. That procedure, that process of getting the 2/3, then even going, putting it through the legal system, seems it would be a tall order for them to try and do that.
But you see, it's almost what people in diplomacy call the nuclear option. You don't have to use it. You just need to show that I have nuclear, and I can use it if I need to. And therefore, you know, to intimidate the other side. So, yeah, 2/3 is a tall order to garner it and then to impeach the deputy president. But the scare tactics, the intimidation, of course, will have their way. You have seen there are some bills about referendum and all that. But you are right that it will be not prudent to go for full impeachment of deputy president because there could be a reprisal. And then after that, who do you put? Of course, it doesn't have to put anybody. It's good enough you have edged him out and you have ignored him. That could be just a way because, you know, they thought he was going to resign. Looks like he's not planning to resign. But impeachment, in my view,
would be a bit too far to stretch it. But anyway, like you say, maybe all they need to do is just show that they can prove. And anyway, one of the things I think that we're learning is that the deputy's presidents, those allied to his side, had felt they have what would call tyranny of numbers, but that doesn't seem to have worked so far, looking at what happened in the Senate and what is expected to happen in the National Assembly. So, of course, we're going to wait and see how that is going to pan out. But let's look at other stories. On page 8 of the Standards, we have a story there. Jobs, only innovative thinkers will survive. Of course, one of the things that COVID-19 has done is completely restructure our thinking, restructure how we have done things. And it looks like even in terms of businesses, only those who are going to imply and employ innovation are going to keep their heads above water, so to speak.
Yeah, and you can see that technology has become very crucial, the fourth industrial revolution. And those companies that thrive are those who have integrated technology. There is this assumption, I'm not a business commentator, but there's this assumption that after COVID, there are jobs that might be gone. Companies might restructure, might rethink. I mean, if the company find that they were running just kind of okay with 70% out of office, you can see that they can now start questioning, why do we have to have all these employees? But of course, it is time for innovation. Every calamity will be is time for innovation.
Absolutely.
It's time for re-engineer, and it's time to find out the opportunities. And Kenya businesses are in forefront. I've seen a lot of conferences, even universities. I mean, our university is opened. Our classes are still going on. Some are still waiting for Corona to end. And then people are actually finding this virtual learning as something to even carry beyond COVID. So people are learning and relearning. And after every epidemic, those who survive will find that they will have to adopt and relearn.
New ways of doing things. And of course, technology is one of those that's definitely going to be a winner when it comes to innovation and doing things differently on the other side of COVID-19, post-COVID-19. Let's look at the Daily Nation. We've already looked at the headlines. Endgame is to impeach Ruto allies fear. And we've already looked at that and what it means. We have the likes of Caleb Kositani saying that they're going to fight to the bitter end for this. Jubilee Deputy Secretary says that the Deputy President's allies will fight to protect his position. Is that going to happen? Well, we wait and see. We have the likes of David Morathe, who says that he was quite reluctant to comment on the alleged impeachment plans of the Deputy President. But as mentioned by Dr. Ojwang, it may be a tall order to impeach him, but sometimes it's not about impeaching, but showing that that is a possibility and possibly just keeping them busy to ensure that that does not happen. So that's what's on the headline of the Daily Nation this morning. But there is another interesting story on the front page. Wrong results 3 years later. This is to do with the IEBC. And of course, this has been a subject that has been discussed time and again, particularly as we get closer to the elections. And one wonders, we would refer to the Kriegler report that mentioned and made it clear that we need to have the IEBC, or the ref as it were, in place and ready for the elections 2 years before the elections take place. Here we are in 2020. We have 2020. We have the elections not too far off from now. Your thoughts, Dr. Ojwang, on IEBC as a body that is there to ensure that we have free and fair elections? Are we staring at another disaster come 2022?
And probably this is another battleground, because remember, according to BBI, the commissioners should be brought by political parties. And so if the president take over Jubilee, and they are in a coalition with ODM and KANU and all these other parties, then you can see why Deputy President is worried that he might not get his share. Remember, that was a big contestation, that should the commissioners be appointed, be just aligned to political parties. But that is the tone in the BBI. And so, yes, you are right, that time is running out. The modality of getting these commissioners is still vague, but according to BBI, it will be based on political parties and political party strength. almost the equal of IPPG, I think, between during Moi's time.
Do you see that as a reasonable, strategy to have the IPPG model of having the IEBC?
Probably not, because it's not building institutions. And the politics change based on interest. And I think that it will be compromised, so that how will they work if everybody is representing their party? Probably we'll get to the East African community, but that is the issue. If I work in the East African Secretariat, but as a representative of Kenya, I'm taking care of Kenya interest first.
Absolutely.
And not this organ. So, but according to ODM, they have said we have been lying to ourselves. There is nothing like neutrality. Let us just own it. We bring you there. We know you are from KANU, and therefore we check each other. That has been the counter argument, that there is these institutions we have built. There is nothing like independent institution. The human agency and human actions are more important, and therefore let us just accept that you have come here as a party representative. There are laws here, and we can watch. So probably it's not a good thing for constitutionalism and institutions, but is it accepting, or a race to the bottom, accepting our reality that we are prone to wander, this is whom we are. Don't masquerade that you are a commissioner, but we know at night you caucus with politicians. Just be bold about it.
All right. And are there models we can borrow? Because it may be an honest way to go, because that's how we are as Kenya. It's an honest way to go, but is it one that is going to help us? Because at the end of the day, we are talking about democracy here, and democracy is for the people to be heard and for their, vote to count. Now, if we have people who are allied to political parties, chances are this is going to be doctored, so to speak, right from the bottom to the top. So by the time we're going to elections, we're not really electing a leader who Kenyans want as the leader, but one who has been chosen by that particular party for whatever interest.
Yeah, and so that is anti-democracy, because you know that elections are the mother's milk of democracy.
Correct.
And so if we don't have credible elections, maybe we will now not have one server that fails to be open. We might have multiple. Maybe we will have different commissioners declaring, or of course it will be the chair or whatever the arrangement. But you know that in that boardroom there will be a lot of tension. Now the issue is, we are building institutions not for posterity but for an event. And so if now Jubilee is comfortable and ODM feel they are comfortable and they are friends, which you know it's just a matter of time, then maybe what Honorable Orengo said, actually, Uko said that revolution eats its own baby. Right now, ODM will be comfortable because they think they are in bed with Jubilee. But once they have brought those things, interests change, interests converge. So it will be a good thing to have independent overseers. Have we have independent overseers? That is up to the political scientists
to tell us whether we have that.
Yeah.
So far, we have proved not to have that, as much as we pretend that we do, but there you go. Let's wait and see how that is going to play out. On page 4 of The Nation, manufacturers hard hit as earnings drop, and it is predicted that they're going to continue dropping, because as we continue to fight the pandemic of COVID-19, we still have major industries and organizations that are not functioning. Airlines are still grounded. We have manufacturers. We have, quite a number of areas that have been challenged. And of course, maybe just to get your thoughts, Dr. Ojwang, on how you feel we need to get out of this post-COVID-19, particularly our economic state. We definitely are going to, we are nosediving as we speak. We're already not doing very well. What would you advise we need to do as a country to ensure that we, first of all, stay afloat, and secondly, come out of the economic turmoil that we're going to have after COVID-19?
Because it's bound to happen. It appears that the economy had already slowed even before COVID. And so it will, like you said, might take a nosedive after. all the lockdowns and the slow economy. The economy of the world is also integrated, so to the extent that the world economy will suffer. Even if we had a better economy, obviously everybody will suffer and that will affect us. Some of the ways for now, of course, you know, there goes the big four. How do you balance the issue of survival, the issue of food, which becomes so essential at a time? How about the job loss? A lot of people are going to lose jobs. At some point, I think we were promised a stimulus check or something of sort. I don't know how far that has gone, but there is rumors that there will be a recovery strategy and a recovery secretariat after COVID-19. I think that after COVID-19 and after staying in the house incubating for months, Kenyans should again wake up and be vigilant about the institution. We don't have Auditor General. We still have corruption rampant. We still have the succession politics full-blown, even within COVID. So if we reduce the politics, if we work hard and we stay safe, hopefully we can recover, but of course it will take years.
Okay, and well, yeah, it'll take years and we'll wait and see how that goes. That's what we have for you. There's a lot more in the dailies this morning. The headline of the business dailies: KCB boss 4-year salary crosses 1 billion, as some are, you know, suffering, and of course those are some of the wage bills that we're looking at. But we're going to take a